cars who are our customers, who don't do what they're supposed to do,
Bye.
and don't understand what they're doing, and they drive that car 10, 15,000 miles or more. I think right around 25 to 30,000 miles is the limit you can go without changing your oil. Because I've seen a number of engines locked up, brand new cars, so they drove them from the day they bought them to 25 to 30,000 miles, and that's the end of it. That's the end of it. There is, however, a bypass valve in the filter that once it's plugged up, once oil can't get through it, the bypass valve opens up and lets dirty oil circulate through the engine. Dirty oil is better than no oil at all. So there's a bypass valve. Bypass and anti-drain back are in the filter. There's a picture of the bottom of the filter. In case you wanted to know, the oil is pumped in through the little holes on the outside and enters the engine through the hole in the middle. Oil coolers you'll find on some cars. Typically diesels, high performance turbocharged cars, supercharged cars, performance cars that put a lot more heat into the engine. Turbochargers in particular, whether it's a diesel or gas, oil is pumped through the turbocharger, and the turbocharger is powered by what? Exhaust. The turbocharger is being powered by 800, 900 degree exhaust. So it's very hot. A lot more heat goes into the oil. So there's a cooler on those cars to remove that heat so the oil doesn't break down. If the oil gets overheated, it's going to cook and turn to sludge. Oil cooler is something you don't want to overlook. If you're doing an engine overhaul or an engine repair and sludge was a problem, sludge was maybe a primary cause of a failure. If you've got sludge built up in the engine, there's also sludge in the cooler and cooler lines. That's either need to be replaced or flushed out completely to make sure the oil can circulate through it. Good? All good. Engine oil passages or galleries. You all have seen it. We've been there, we've touched all these parts, we've looked at these parts in our engine. Pickup screen, oil pump through the filter and into the engine where it passes through the crankshaft or up through galleries to feed the camshaft. And then pumped out to all the bearings. Once it gets to the bearings, where does the oil go? Once the oil gets to the bearings, where does it go? Oil pan. It squeezes past the bearings, the crankshaft swings it around, but it eventually goes back and drops into the oil pan. The sump. Oil gaskets and seals. We talked about gaskets and seals already. They're part of the lubrication system, and where you're going to run into them is when you see that lubrication leaking outside of the engine. We really covered all this in chapter 13. Dipstick, part of the lubrication system. Where do you fill that dipstick? When you're doing an oil change, what's the oil level? Let's talk about the dipstick. The dipstick. What is this zone in here? What is that area in there? The hash marks, the line, the area between the high and low. Was it?
The safe zone.
Get all that on here.